All right, everyone. Well, today is a max loss red day recap. Welcome to therapy. We're going to be talking about how I became so broken in the head. This is the thing with trading that's really remarkable. And we say this all the time. And today we've got FOMO Friday with our trading psychology team. And one of the things we say is that trading is 50% mindset and 50% skill. Of course, you're not going to find any success as a trader if you don't have skill, and if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a set of rules. You need all of that. There's no question about it. But then there's the other battle, which is going on up here. And if you can't maintain the discipline and also the presence of mind to really be connected with the true state of the market and your own ability to be in control and to know whether or not you're becoming emotionally compromised and then more apt to make mistakes. If you're not even able to realize that, then you're going to spiral and you're not even going to be able to stop yourself. And so part of trading is mindset and part of trading is skill. And what I've been struggling with this week is the mindset. Now, I don't know, maybe it's COVID brain and sure, we'll blame it on that. Why not? I've been trading with COVID for the last week. I mean, I feel a lot better now than I did a week ago, but it's probably not that. But let's just say it is, because that's a nice excuse. Because I refuse to hold myself accountable. So I'm gonna blame COVID, and I'm gonna blame this stupid computer, and I'm gonna blame June because she looked at me funny today. That's my dog. This is something a lot of traders will do. Try to dodge that. It's right here. This is the problem. So where did things kind of fall apart? Well, we're going to look at today's trades, which were just stupid and frustrating. And we're going to look at yesterday's trades because I did my recap yesterday. I uploaded it. And then I started working on a new episode that I'm going to upload to YouTube soon. And when I finish that episode, this is one of the challenges that I have, is that I'm working here at my workstation. So of course I'm seeing all these stocks that are moving. So, I finished this episode yesterday and I see that GSIW, was looking pretty good for a trade into the close. And, schmuck that I am, I went ahead and said, why not? Why not take a trade into the close? I'm up 5,000 on the day. Was that not good enough? See, this is the thing that, you've got to kind of ask yourself the question is why, I already had a good day yesterday. Well, it wasn't a great day, but, I was up $5,000, went to red, then back to $5,000. I should have been very grateful for that. And instead, I sat down and saw GSIW into the close, and all I felt was FOMO, the fear of missing out. I didn't want to miss out on this squeeze. And so I ended up taking a couple trades on it. I took a trade on it into the close right here for the break of 8. It goes up to about 850 or 840 and then drops down and I stopped out. So now this is what tends to happen. Now I'm up only 4,300 on the day. So I kind of now got a little kick in the teeth and I'm like, gosh darn it. Now I want to make back that 700 I just lost. It squeezes up right here and I miss that trade. It then dips. I buy the dip at 10. It pops up to 1050. I add, and then it dumps to 950. Boom, $3,000 loss. Guys, I'm telling you, it's like in an instant, I'm back to flat on the day or up 1,000 on the day. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And then what do? I'm like, well, gosh darn it. Now I'm getting frustrated. And I try to take another position on it down here for a curl. That doesn't work. It flushes again. And now I'm just overtrading the backside of the move like an idiot. So this is the thing and it's really hard for me to let myself off the hook when I have that kind of trading. So I ended up finishing the day down $7,500 yesterday. I went from green to red. Look at this P&L. Oh, it's kind of hard to see when I zoom in like that. But anyways, you could see right there, I went red, green, red, green, a teeny bit more green, and then in 3 trades, I just spiraled. And this is the thing that I get so frustrated about because, I'm just like, Russ, you've been doing this for so long. How is it that this still happens? And that question, that very question speaks to, there's a flaw in that question. I know this sounds like that Jordan Peterson guy. This question that begs the question of what is a question? But there's a flaw in the question of, Ross, you've been trading for this long and you haven't figured it out, because it assumes that these types of days no longer happen once you achieve a certain level. That's the implied presumption, right? Or the assumption. And that is a myth. And I've seen traders who are far better than me. I've even seen billionaire investors who have taken positions that objectively you look at and you're like, what are they thinking? And then they lose like $300 million or 500 million or $1 billion. And it's like, whoa, and you'd think at a certain level that would stop happening, but it doesn't. And so there's this concept of being able to radically accept that as a human trying to trade the markets, we are doing something that is incredibly difficult, and we will, whether it's every few weeks or every few months or every few years, but for most people, it's going to be every few weeks, every few months, we will fall into this trap. The market just very carefully pulls us in, and next thing you know, we're capitulating and spiraling. This is not entirely avoidable. It just isn't. Like I said, I know traders who've been doing this for a lot longer than me. It still happens to them. But I get frustrated myself because when I step back, I'm like, wow, you're a idiot. You went from up 5,000 on the day to down $7,000. That's a $12,000 swing. So now you're in a drawdown, right? And then I step back here and I'm like, gosh, so, a second red day here for the month of September. And then what do I do today? I come in and pretty much immediately I go into the red. And so now we've got another red day. And it's like, this is where I start to feel like I'm getting a little unhinged. And, you can spend, put me on the couch and, analyze my brain. Why is it that I'm doing this? If I was going to try to analyze myself, I would say that this all stems from FOMO. I mean, this is the fear of missing out. Why do I feel it so strongly? I mean, it's not like, first of all, as many of you know, I trade in a retirement account. So, I mean, I'm happy to make as much money as I can, but at the same time, I can't spend the money right now. So there's not really a sense of being like, oh, I need that money so I can go buy something tomorrow or next week or whatever. But I think this is what it is for me. And I'm just, this might, I don't know. I think this is it. Last year was a really tough year for me. Last year was one of the slowest years I'd had in a long time. We'd had the bear market of 2022. Small caps were just dead. 2023, it was like just a slow rally. Overall market was doing well, but small caps were tough. And then this summer, I had in June and then July and August, two of like the best months I've had in over a year and a half, almost 2 years. I had two of my single biggest green days I'd had in a long time. And I think all of a sudden I was like, finally. And it feels so good to have a really big winning trade. And that is a tough thing with trading, is that it does generate emotions. When you have great trades, you feel good. And when you have bad trades, you feel bad. And when you start doing that emotion seeking, that can be dangerous. And that can lead you to take high risks because you're chasing that good feeling. And so this month, that has slowed down a little bit, right? Beginning of September, it was like the faucet just sort of switched off. And I started first day of September struggling. And the rest of the first week was tough. Then Monday of the next week, I take that, $11,000 loss, which was right here, which is another day where it was avoidable. I went red, miraculously got myself all the way back to green. And then I went back to red in like 2 trades and then took a final trade at the end of the day, and just things got even worse, right? Very similar to yesterday in a way. And, then I had some nice green days here. So since my last red day, I've made about $45,000, but then to give back $7,000 yesterday, gives back, 20% of that or whatever. And of course I have fees and commissions, which make it worse, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, the glass is still full, but the fact is, it's not full. It's, but it's still half full, whatever. But the fact is, I'm trading right now from a place that's very emotionally activated, and I'm carrying the emotion sort of from day to day to day. So like, I had the spiral last week. I had that spiral the first day of September. And then I've had several other days where I was like big green and then gave back half. And it's like I'm trading really aggressively, right? And that was my problem today. I sat down and I started really aggressively. And I was like, first of all, start slow. And I did. I capped myself at 5,000 shares on my first trade. And on my first trade of the day, I made $200. And I was like, ooh, that was not great. Second trade of the day, I made $1,000. So now I'm up 1,200. And right away, I took my cap off. I got back in the same stock with 12,000 shares and it dumps. And just like that, I'm down $3,000 on the day. We'll look at the P&L. You can see what it looks like for today. So this is a technicality red day because technically it's a green day, but after fees and commissions, I'll be in the red. And GDHG was the one that flipped me from green to red on the day. And then I guess the loss got bigger with CREV, NBY, and then I got a couple trades that redeemed myself. So my P&L today basically started green 1,000, red 3,000, and then slowly recovering until I'm back to where I'm at right now, which is $209. So I guess it's a red day recap max loss when we factor in that I haven't updated you until now on what happened yesterday after the close, or into the close. So the combination is a net negative. But I suppose, if we look at the calendar here for September, second red day of the month, and, it's going to be more or less a flat week after fees and commissions. And the fees and commissions are frustrating because, I've been churning a lot of fees and commissions just over trading. So if we look at it after fees and commissions, you'll see that, it's going to be basically a flat week. Might even be red. Depends on what my commissions are today. It might be red $200 or something, but, whatever. That's not the issue though. The issue here is that I'm trading too aggressively. So, I'm in this place where my emotions are really heightened. And so the question here is, how do I proceed? How do I slow myself down? How do I stop spiraling? And I think, the tough thing like this morning when I first came in is I was like, all right, my best shot at a good day here is the first couple hours. So I was aggressive during that time. And typically that is the right time to be aggressive. If we look at my metrics for the month and we said, is there a prescription that could cure you, Ross, for the rest of the month of this sickness in your brain? Let's see if there is. Let's see if my metrics point to any cure. So we're going to look at days and times because I already have an idea of one of them. Oh, there it is, you idiot. Stop trading past 11 a.m., would you please? So that's $17,000 and that's another $5,000. That's $26,000 in losses into the close, power hour and after hours. So, why is it that, and I don't know what this is from. This must be from Thinkorswim or something. I guess because I've got my Thinkorswim challenge in here. But anyways, why was it that I started trading in this time frame? If we look at August, did I have any trades during that time frame in August last month? It's very unusual for me to trade later in the day. But you know what? It looks like I did. So this is very interesting. I would say this is where it's such a slippery slope. You're like, look, I'm fine. I'm going to have a couple drinks. I'm fine. Next thing you know, a month later, things have really fallen apart. And this is the thing with trading is when you deviate outside your strategy, it's like, oh, this is working. No, it's okay. It's okay. You get a false sense of confidence and then reality catches up to you. Because over the long term, I know I typically don't do well in the afternoon and into power hour. That's not usually when we have breaking news, and I do well trading breaking news. So the first prescription for the rest of the month is that I need to walk away at noon, hard stop at 12 noon. And it's tough because if I'm sitting here, and many days I am, recording episodes for you guys on YouTube and this and that, I'm seeing things moving, right? So that's like sitting in the bar and saying, don't take a trade. And I don't mean to compare it to something that's, some people have what would be a real problem with, But I think the temptation there exists, and it's hard when you're sitting here and you're watching these things move and you're having to discipline yourself and say, no, I'm not going to take a trade. I'm not going to take a trade. Meanwhile, this thing is going higher and higher and higher. So, and that's kind of what happened on a lot of days during the month of August, because I was teaching classes. And then when I finished teaching classes at 2, I'd be like, oh, see, I was watching that move. Let's go ahead and take some trades at 3 and 4. And, I guess I had some good luck. Probably that was it because the market was strong, but that ran out. So I've given back, quite literally half of my entire month. It appears half of my month is gone because of trading in the afternoon. Okay, so this is the importance of tracking your metrics so you can make these observations, learn these things, and do something about it. Now, the fact is, I was already aware that I was making this mistake a little bit, last week, and yet we kept seeing these big moves, and I thought, just keep, maybe you'll get a nice win. But at this point, enough is enough, and I've got to stop doing what I'm doing. My profit loss ratio for the month has gone slightly negative because of these large losses. My accuracy is 56%. So this month is really very different from the month of August. And in August, I did a better job starting each day, just focusing on first hitting that $1,000 profit with 5,000 shares. But then when the market started heating up, I started being more aggressive right out of the gates. And I'm not saying that was a mistake. I had a great month of August, but I wasn't quick enough to pivot here in September when things started to cool down. So things have cooled down a little bit here in September, and I've not been fast enough to adjust. Now, statistically, September is usually one of my worst months of the year. So, because I had just come off a really hot July and August, I wasn't really thinking it was going to be a bad month. I thought it was going to be a great month, but so far that's not been the case. So I do need to make an adjustment going into next week. And the most obvious one is to stop trading past 11 or past noon. And then I think the second is on the share size side of things. So today, first trade of the day, I break the ice, that was on BNZI. So BNZI is my biggest winner today. And this one, it gave us some nice action, but also some huge jackknives, really choppy, big rejections. You can see right here, this one here, another little topping tail there. So my first trade on it was right at 7 a.m. on that breakout. And right there, I made $200, but it ended up being a jackknife to start the day. Next trade was GDHG. And GDHG, I jumped into this also right at 7 a.m. here. First entry was around 450 as it breaks VWAP. It goes up to 5. I make $1,000, and then I got back in right here for the break of 5, and it dumps right there. And I did that with 10,000 shares. So, or 12,000, whatever it was. So that was awful. And right away, I went from up 1,000 to down 2,300. And then immediately I felt the kick of the emotion. And so I was like, all right, next trade, 10,000 shares. So then LFLY comes up, LFLY. And on this one, I buy 10,000 share starter right here, whatever it was, 7 a.m. for break of VWAP. Now, this one did a attempt. It failed. It was a small loss, but then it worked later. But I kept trading this with big size. My trades here were with 20,000 shares. So it's like I was just being way too aggressive. Now, look, being aggressive when the market is hot makes sense. And it's a little bit confusing because the market has been very volatile this week, but because I've been trading a little too heavy relative to how much I'm comfortable risking, my emotions have gotten really big. So I end up stopping out on flushes, then adding back at the top, and just sort of getting into that emotional trading where you're deviating from sort of the written process and rules of the strategy. I think for the most part, all the stocks I traded today were the right stocks to trade. CREV, that was a lighter volume one that popped up. Sorry, CREV. This one was lighter volume that popped up. I got in right here at about 680 for the break of 7, and then I added at 780 for the break of 8, and then it dumps all the way to 560. So, what can you do with that? Like that Maybe on a day when the market was hotter, that would have gone to 9 and 10 and it would have been a nice winner. But today, for whatever reason, the market was not hot. And it feels like things have just been sort of colder. NBY, cheaper stock, don't usually like these. Got in for the break right here of $1. It false breaks, lost on that, got back in, pops up to $1.05, drops back down, stopped out again. So down 700 on that one. And then GSIW, I took a trade on that earlier for the break of VWAP here, and that also failed. Although I thought at the time it could be nice for a retest of the highs from yesterday. But of course, glad I didn't get stubborn on it, cut my loss and moved on. Ended up dropping down about 50% on the day. CRBP was tempted on this, but said, nope, too expensive, easy to borrow, not worth it. Don't mess around with that. AENT saw it on the scans and said, nope, not worth it. Don't mess around with that. So really my saving grace today was the curl on BNZI at the open, which I traded, but only sort of conservatively because I was already down 3,000 on the day. And I knew I was like, all right, 2 red days in a row. This is not good. So we ended up getting a dip and then a rally, pulled back, drops, rips back up, and then just a lot of chop. So in total, today wasn't a super clean day. I shouldn't feel FOMO today because I really didn't miss anything. I'm I guess slightly red after fees and commissions, but I did the best I could today, and there really wasn't much to be had. So that's is what it is. But yesterday was really disappointing, and now I've got myself a little bit of a a hole that I've got to recover from. So not I've dug myself a hole of whatever. $7,000, $7,500, $9,000 with fees and commissions. So, round it up to 10 grand. And realistically, if we actually have a stock that's clean, it's not a problem to make that in one day. I mean, that's one decent day is, $5,000, $10,000. So it's not a question of if I'll make it back. I mean, I'll make it back, but it's just a question of how long do I want to continue to trade at the edge of this sort of emotional comfort zone? And am I getting rewarded for it? Trading at the edge of my emotional comfort zone through July and August paid really well. I was trading really aggressively. I was trading with big size, and as I sit right now in the year, I'm up 600 plus thousand net of fees and commissions. So year to date, I'm in great shape, 645,000, right? And I'm really cruising here. So it's just, so this is also the challenge of like in totality, if you have a really narrow view of just one red day, it's like everything is terrible, but you step back and it's like, this is just one component of the part of trading. But it is frustrating. It's frustrating to feel that you make the same mistakes, or you find yourself in a similar position of, oh, here I am again, down $5,000, down $10,000 because I overtraded. I gave back some profit and then I started getting frustrated. I got emotional. I started chasing it. And so there's sort of two choices for how to proceed. One, of course, is to put some restrictions on my account, some guardrails to help prevent mistakes. Now, I didn't trade after hours today. I mean, today I traded within my time frame, but I still had a bad day. I had a bad day because I took too much share size too early. And that immediately brought the emotions out. It wouldn't have hurt if I'd had a winner, but because I had a loser, the emotions came out. So I think that going into next week, I have to discipline myself. Given that we've got 2 red days in a row, maybe on Monday, what I have to do is I have to say, look, $5,000 is your max share size until you have a green day. Close the day green. Make however much you can make with 5,000 shares, close the day green. Don't take bigger size, because if you have a 3rd red day in a row, you're going to get really upset. So just 5,000 shares, max position. And so, I'll kind of write this down here. So let's see. So 5,000 shares, 5K max until green day. Closed. And that's a closed green day. So that means Monday, I'm going to be capped at 5,000 shares. And that that's going to restrict me. It could prevent me if we have something that's really, really clean from doing as well as I would do if I took 10 or 15,000 shares, but it won't stop me from having a decent day. I could still have a decent day with 5,000 share max. So, and if I have a red day, then at least it's more measured. It's not going to go as deep as I've gone yesterday and today. So 5,000 share max size until I close a green day. And then resume 5K max until plus, maybe we should say, I don't know, maybe we should say 50. I mean, I don't know. I've been doing 1,000. It's been working. It's been working. So maybe just 1,000. And then maybe we do 7,500 max until, 2,000. And then, 10K max until $5,000. The thing with this that is a little tricky is that then once you're already up 5,000 on the day, you've that's usually I've had a couple really nice trades. So now it's almost like I should size back down, after I cross that $5,000 mark. Normally I wouldn't size down after I cross 5,000. I would say size up, but given I've had several days where I cross that $5,000 mark and then I give it back, I wonder if I should size down. Well, some of this I still have to think about a little bit and sort of come to a decision of what makes the most sense. But I can get on board with this right here for Monday, because this addresses my concern about wanting to avoid having a capitulation of coming in on Monday morning, swinging big on the first stock that I see, and then losing 2,500 on trade one. And the problem today was that there just wasn't a lot of really good quality opportunities. So, I just didn't, it was, like I said yesterday, I ended up having to lower my quality standard in order to continue trading. And I was trading just to dig myself out of the hole. And that's not really a good way to trade. And I could have avoided digging the hole so deep if I had just been a bit more disciplined and stuck with smaller size until I had a bigger cushion. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's nice that we have the weekend, because now I've got 2 days off. That allows the emotions to kind of subside a little bit. And although I'm disappointed with today, I'm not, I don't feel as upset as I did yesterday. Yesterday, I felt quite upset yesterday evening. I'd given back my whole day. I'd gone from daily goal to max loss. Today, I never hit my daily goal. I never hit my max loss. I was just sort of in the in-between. And the fact is that that's not that big of a deal. It's only annoying really because it's in the context of, yesterday being a bad day, and it would have been nicer to have a little recovery today, but that just wasn't possible. So, it's really going to, at the end of the day, come down to the condition of the market. If we have good opportunities, it's not hard, even with 5,000 share cap, to hit my daily goal. It's if we end up, tomorrow or Monday is like today, and it's kind of choppy and slow, and it's hard to tell what's obvious, then it doesn't really matter how many shares I buy, it's going to be hard. But if I buy more shares, I'm going to get more slippage, and I'm going to have bigger losses on the losers. And that's what's happening. So I need to, and this has always been something I've struggled with, just to be honest, is easing off the throttle when we go from hot to cold. I have no problem putting the pedal to the metal. I have a hard time easing off the throttle. Some people have the opposite problem. They have a hard time scaling up. By the time they scale up, it's like the market's cooled off. But I scale up pretty quickly. I have a hard time slowing down. And that's why usually I'll do really well during a hot streak, and then I'll give back a little bit more than I probably would like to when things start to get a little colder. And the fact is, I've got to be thoughtful about the fact that I am green on the month here. I don't need to hit rock bottom, I did take money out of my account. So my current account balance has, probably $150,000. Let's see. Let me check to see what it is. Yeah, I've got $158,000 in my account here this morning. So, that's not bad. I could even take a little bit of money out to prevent myself from being reckless. And that would be a further step that I could take if I felt it was warranted. So I'll consider that next week. But for Monday, I've got a little bit of a game plan here. And so this is going to be the approach of Monday, and then this will address after Monday. We'll see how Monday goes, and then we'll look at that for the week ahead. So for those of you guys that tune in the channel, I hope you're subscribed. I've got some uploads coming this weekend, which I think you'll enjoy, and I know you guys appreciate the transparency. So red day recaps, green day recaps, you guys see it all. So thank you as always for tuning in, and I'll remind you, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow. I'll see you guys back here